Let's get right into it. Number 7, the control web. What if one day you woke up and realized you're low-key getting permission to live your own life from the person you're dating? At first, it sounds like they're just looking out for you, but slowly you're checking in, explaining yourself, and shrinking your world to keep the peace. But once you're caught in it, your whole life can feel like it revolves around keeping them calm, happy, and unbothered. At first, it might look like caring. Hey, I don't really like that friend. They're a bad influence. Do you really want to wear that? Why didn't you text me back right away? Little comments, light guilt trips, playful sarcasm. Nothing you can prove is controlling, but you feel that pressure. Over time, it grows. They want to know where you are, who you're with, and why you didn't answer instantly. They might blow up your phone, sulk, give you attitude, or pick fights when you set normal boundaries. You start thinking, it's just easier if I don't go, or let me just tell them what they want to hear. That's how the web tightens, through your constant self-adjusting. In a healthy relationship, there's room to breathe. You keep your friends, your hobbies, and your voice. In a control web, your world slowly shrinks. You stop doing what you love, stop seeing who you love, and start living to manage their reactions. That shift from partnership to quiet control is exactly how NPD drains the life out of a relationship. Number 6, the truth distortion. What if the person you're with is so smooth at spinning stories that you start doubting your own memory? Every time your gut says, something's off, they clap back with, you're crazy, or you're doing way too much. Narcissists will bend reality to protect their image and keep control. They might lie by omission, leave out key details, or tell half-truths that technically sound okay but feel shady. They'll say they forgot to mention their ex was at that party. They'll swear that message was just a joke. They'll change the story depending on who they're talking to. When you question things, they flip it. You're so paranoid. Wow, can't you just trust me? Why are you always starting drama? Little by little, you stop trusting your own memory and instincts. You start second-guessing everything. Maybe I'm being too much. Maybe I did misunderstand. That confusion is the point. Healthy relationships are built on honesty and clarity, even when the truth is uncomfortable. With truth distortion, the ground is always shifting. You never know what's real, what's hidden, or what's being spun. That constant uncertainty destroys emotional safety, and once trust is gone, the relationship isn't really a partnership anymore. It's a performance, where only one person knows the script. Number 5, the blame game cycle. Have you noticed how some folks will twist literally anything so they never have to say, yeah, that was on me? Every argument turns into them nitpicking your tone, your reaction, and your issues while they skate off scot-free. That's the blame game cycle. And with narcissistic personality disorder, it will straight up wreck a relationship. Here's how it plays out. Any conflict, any mistake, any problem, they dodge responsibility like it's a full-time sport. They'll say things like, you're overreacting, you made me do that, or if you hadn't said that, I wouldn't have blown up. Instead of owning their behavior, they flip the script so you end up defending yourself when you were the one hurt. In a healthy relationship, both people can say, yeah, I messed up, let's fix it. With NPD, admitting fault feels like a direct attack on their ego, so they rewrite reality to protect themselves. They might twist timelines, deny conversations you clearly remember, or cherry-pick tiny details to make you look like the problem. Over time, this cycle fries your brain. You start thinking, maybe it is my fault. Maybe I am the crazy one. You stop bringing up issues because you already know how it ends, with you apologizing for something they did. When there's no real accountability, nothing ever truly gets resolved. Fights just get buried alive and come back later, even uglier. That constant looping blame game slowly kills trust, connection, and respect. Number 4, the idealize, devalue, discard loop. Ever had someone come in hot, love bombing you, talking about forever, making it feel like you just met your person, then flip on you like a light switch? That fairy tale turned horror story vibe isn't random. It's the idealize, devalue, discard loop in action. Here's the pattern. First, idealize. They put you on a pedestal. You're amazing, perfect, and different from everyone else. They mirror you, love bomb you, and future fake you. It feels intense, addictive, and honestly, kind of like a movie. Then comes devalue. Slowly the vibe shifts. Little digs, backhanded compliments, comparing you to exes or other people. They get annoyed easier, less patient, and more critical. You start working overtime to get back to how it was at the beginning, thinking you did something wrong. Finally, discard. They may emotionally check out, cheat, ghost, or keep you around, but treat you like an option. Sometimes they leave completely. Other times they give you just enough crumbs to keep you hanging on, while still acting distant and superior. This loop is brutal because it messes with your sense of reality. You go from feeling chosen to feeling disposable. That high from the idealization phase keeps you stuck, hoping it'll return. But with narcissistic personality disorder, that whole cycle isn't love. It's control and ego supply, and it absolutely shatters emotional stability and self-worth. Number 3, the emotional drain. Have you ever been in a relationship that had you so worn out you barely recognized yourself in the mirror anymore? You're dragging through the day, snapping at people, zoning out at work, and still telling yourself, I'm fine. It's not that deep. That's the emotional drain, and with narcissistic personality disorder, it doesn't hit all at once. It's slow, sneaky, and brutal. Day by day, you're managing their moods, their reactions, their egos, and their needs. You're walking on eggshells, replaying conversations in your head, trying not to set them off. You might be losing sleep, losing focus at work, and pulling away from friends because you're too drained to explain what's going on. Your whole nervous system is on high alert. The wild part? Half the time you end up blaming yourself. You think, maybe I'm just not strong enough, or maybe I'm too emotional. Meanwhile, the relationship is constantly taking from you your peace, your confidence, your joy, without really giving anything back. Healthy love should add to your life, not feel like it's sucking the life out of you. When you're with someone highly narcissistic, your world shrinks, your energy tanks, and your sense of self starts fading. That's not being in love. That's being emotionally depleted. And that level of exhaustion is exactly why so many relationships with NPD don't just end. They leave people deeply burned out and struggling to even recognize themselves. Number 2, the me-centered universe. Ever feel like your whole relationship is just orbiting around one person? Like you're low-key a side character in your own life? No matter what you're going through, somehow it always snaps back to their drama, their mood, and their story. That's the me-centered universe. And it's one of the biggest reasons narcissistic personality disorder wrecks relationships. With NPD, their needs, their moods, their goals, and their feelings sit at the top of the food chain. Yours, optional, negotiable, background noise. You could be going through a rough week, family drama, work stress, health issues, and instead of support, you get hit with, yeah, that sucks. Anyway, let me tell you what I'm dealing with. It's like emotional one-way traffic. You start to notice patterns. You're always the one compromising, always the one adjusting plans, and always the one understanding their behavior. Date nights become about what they want. Conversations become about what they think. Arguments become about how you made them feel. Over time, you stop even checking in with your own needs because you already know whose will win. And here's where relationships crumble. Love cannot survive long-term when it's completely lopsided. Resentment builds. You feel used, unseen, and emotionally ripped off. It doesn't feel like a partnership. It feels like a full-time job where you're on call to feed their ego and manage their emotions, and nobody's clocking your overtime. Number 1, the empathy void. What if the person who says they love you literally feels nothing when you're in pain and acts like you're doing the most every time you open up? That low-key nightmare has a name, the empathy void, and it can quietly nuke a relationship from the inside. Narcissistic personality disorder often comes with a deep lack of genuine empathy. They might act caring when it benefits them, but when you really need emotional support, crickets. Or worse, they flip it and make it about how your feelings are an inconvenience to them. In a healthy relationship, both people feel seen, heard, and emotionally held. With an empathy void, your needs become problems, your emotions become overreactions, and your pain becomes annoying drama. Over time, you start shutting down. You stop sharing. You convince yourself, maybe I'm asking for too much. This is where the damage goes deep. You're physically in a relationship, but emotionally you feel completely alone. You begin to question your own worth. If the person who loves me doesn't care when I'm hurting, maybe I don't matter. That slow erosion of emotional safety is exactly how MPD ruins relationships. Not always with big explosions, but with constant emotional neglect that wears you down day after day. So which of these 7 signs hit you the hardest or showed up in your past relationships? If this video helped you hit like, subscribe for more breakdowns. Thanks for watching.